In this video, we are going to go into talking about, is Ripple the future? Is it? We've got so much explosive news tonight. There's so much going on. It's so amazing to see that Ripple's back in the news in so many big ways. And it's coming up right now. And we are back. Welcome back to another edition, the home edition. What day is this? 75 of the shelter in place XRP minute. And for a while there, we were wondering, I don't need these. I don't even know why I'm wearing them. Let's toss them aside. We were wondering to ourselves, is Ripple going to put some news out? Well, boy, did they bring some news. There's some good stuff. They went on a little bit of let me say this right, a tweeting spree. They went on a tweeting spree that was amazing. They went on this tweeting spree, and when I say tweeting spree, I mean when they went nuts. Between yesterday and today, 3 tweets. It's a lot, man. I mean, that's really kind of pushing it. I'm wondering where is everybody tonight? This is a weird off night. What's going on? But I got Moonshot in here, 2020. I like the sound of that, by the way. Good to see you. Guyson Satine is in here. Let's go XRP family. We got Richter Farms in here. Phoenix Starborn, Back to the Future. This is Back to the Future. And we have, of course, Jeff, who's also here as much as I am here on this channel. But guys, you gotta tweet this out or something. I don't know. It's like gonna be a very small little party, which is fine. But I like the peeps to come in here. We like to get some energy going before we jump into it. But so I'll talk a little bit about what the last couple of days have been like. So woke up this morning, put some cinnamon in my coffee. No, I really didn't do that, but I feel like I'm running out of coffee. If you go to Costco and you get the giant box of coffee and you're like, I'll never run out of coffee. And next thing you know, you're like, oh my God, I don't have much left. And you're almost running out of coffee. Like a lot of people were panicking over toilet paper. Not I. I was not panicking over that. Because why? Because I have a Tushy, and I've talked about this before. It's the greatest, like $65 you can ever spend, and toilet paper seems to last forever. And if you knew what it cost to chop down all those trees, you would really. What's going on, Fab and BZ guys? Welcome, gals, everybody, welcome. If you knew what it cost to do that, you'd be so surprised. And what I'm doing is, hey guys, tweet this out. Let's get some more peeps in here. And I'm guessing this is probably one of those Twitter notifications things where it doesn't go out because it didn't even come out on my phone. I'm like, am I live? Do I know if I'm live? Do I know if I'm live? I don't even know. Because why? Because my alert didn't come up yet on my phone. So it's weird. YouTube's been weird, but I love YouTube. YouTube, do you hear that? I love you. I love you. Yeah, we don't want to say any disparaging remarks or anything because that could be really weird. Barbara Taylor's here. What's up, XRP family? She says. How are you doing tonight? And so I'm kind of rambling on, but I was just waiting for a couple more people to pop in, and you guys can tweet this out. Bring your friends, wake the neighbors, do whatever you need to do. If it's morning where you are, have a good cup of coffee. If it's evening, you can also have a good cup of coffee. I don't see anything wrong with it. So let's jump in, shall we? Let's jump into the shallow end head first. So I talked about this tweeting spree that the Twitter went on here, and boom, is that big in your face. Billy's here. Everyone hold up. Billy's here. Billy Gould is in the house. We got Baltazar. What did I do? What did it do? Nothing yet. We're still working on it. Connie's in here. What's going on, Connie? So there's a tweeting spree going on, and when I mean a spree, I'm talking about 3 tweets in 2 days. Did you get that? 3 tweets, 2 days. Ripple's on fire, and I got to tell you that I love it. So this one, the SVP, Senior Vice President of Xpring Dev, which is Xpring, you know him as Ethan Beard, he discusses the true potential of blockchain for payments innovation, how developers are building on it today. And this was an App Developer magazine, which we will pop over to. Lionel Zapian's here, bullish. Yeah, he's bullish. That's good to hear. I like bullish. That's bullish. So if you look at this right here, so the true potential, there he is, Ethan Beard. You know what? He's got that cool looking hairdo going. I got pandemic hair, but he's got that cool, I got to see, if you imagine we were here all together hanging out and we had Ethan Beard on, we'd be, the first question would be, Would it be about blockchain? Would it be about, the future of Ripple and Xpring and who they're bringing into the ecosystem? No. The first question would be like, hey man, what kind of product are you using that here to get that cool little pompadour right there? I mean, what do you use? That would be my first question. That's probably what I would go in with first. And that would be odd, and you probably wouldn't stick around. But there's this really cool interview right here. This is what I like about this is because the App Developer Magazine, usually I have people on talking about developing apps and in and around this, but this happens to focus around blockchain. And one of the things they do is it's actually a really well done interview, which I really, really enjoyed reading. That magazine said, hey, what's the true potential of blockchain? And what I like about Ethan Beard is he always has the right position when he's talking about it. He takes a lot of words and he puts it into a very short space. He says blockchain has the unique ability to transform an array of industries and the opportunity to create entirely new economic models. Using blockchain technology allows businesses to facilitate faster transactions, and greater transparency, all while fostering instant trust between parties conducting businesses with each other. So it's interesting when they talk about blockchain because blockchain has a lot of different features, but he's chosen to really focus on the payment aspect of it. And he also goes on to say that in the industries where blockchain has its biggest potential, it's the payment industry. And I think he's absolutely right. Now, you know that we're dealing with digital assets which have they have a set value, right? And you know that that's on the blockchain. Now, blockchain can be used for smart contracts. We talked about Flare this week on the XRP Minute on the other channel. If you want to know the other channel, you go down below, and there's a little you can see what's going on with that right there. What's going on here? There we go. Had a little rip tear in the screen right there. There we go. So you can go over to the other one, and we talked a little bit about Flare, which is a brand new smart contracts platform. It's going to kind of like be a new sort of a welcome sort. I wouldn't really call it a competitor, but somebody new to be able to build smart contracts on the ecosystem. And then he goes on to say that today's payment networks are siloed and proprietary. Another way to say that is the walled gardens, right? So they all have their own verticals that they're sitting inside of. And, it doesn't make a lot of sense because if you think about what XRP, what it really does in conjunction with Ripple, and there's some other stuff that we're going to get into a little bit later, so I want you to hang on for that. But when we get into that, let's see, what do we have here? I saw something. Calcuian, is that it? Did I say that right? Yeah. Welcome to the stream. And he talks about the fact that one of the things is you can alleviate the pain and messiness, and building on it is challenging. You have 23 million developers out there, and this is a problem that there's been a lot of people looking to sort of solve. The next question ADM says is, how can developers take advantage of the opportunity to build on blockchain? So he goes into the fact that it turns out that developers are really problem solvers. And it's really true. Problem solution, you engineer it around there. So he's saying that similarly, that blockchain has the potential to solve these visible pain points and payment systems. So you see where he's going with this whole sort of interview. He's really focusing on a narrow part of the payment side. He talks about in terms of broader opportunities, blockchain is the fastest growing and most sought after skill out of more than 5,000 on Upwork. Now, Upwork's a site where you can it's sort of a development type of a thing, at least lists skills and whatnot. Wen Mullet, what's up? How are you? Yo, what's going on? How are you? Good to see you, man. Prime to be the most highly talked about technology. So really what he's talking about is that it used to be, here we go, what barriers to entry do developers face? How can they solve for the pain points? Well, one of the most significant barriers to the developers face when coming to building on blockchain is a one-size-fits-all solution. And when we talk about a one-size-fits-all solution, so you may have your smart contract platform, which could be built on the Ethereum blockchain for smart contracts. You might have something else over here. And what he's basically saying is you don't have a one-size-fits-all. Developers don't want to necessarily get locked into like this solution. And if you look at payments, the solution everyone's been locked in for the last 50 years has been Swift, right? Built by the banks. They don't even really have a development team. They're missing all kinds of deadlines. But this was the way this was the the road they travel down, and this is kind of how it went. So he says they don't want to be stuck in dead-end environments, which is why they often turn to open source. And we've talked a lot about open source tech here because open source really isn't going to be really bogged down. Proprietary stuff is going to get bogged down at some point. So they ask him, why are streaming payments important for applications? Now they're getting to the meat and potatoes. He says the way payments work today, it's essentially through a series of debits and credits that are settled between banks and financial institutions, requiring complex legal terms, lengthy PO processes that make it impossible to pay creators and contractors in a timely and consistent manner. That sounds like a problem somebody should solve. So using the example of streaming payments built directly into media applications, it makes it possible to streamline compensation to creators. Obviously, we've got the Coil platform, which is streaming payments. We got Imgur, which can stream payments to creators, all around the thing. So you can see that they're expanding this ecosystem because Coil was funded out of Xpring. He says that all without being subject to ad models. So everyone's been trying to solve the ad model thing forever and a day, right? They've been trying to figure it out. They're like, we don't want ads, right? And it's true, nobody likes the ads. But the bottom line is someone's got to get paid at the end of the day, right? Someone has to make some money. You put a lot of hard work. You got to pay a writer on a website. You got to take care of business. But it's almost gotten a little bit too crazy. Even on this one here, you see that I got the ad blocker. It's natively built into Safari on the Mac, which is what I'm using right here. Beard, he goes on to say, what would streaming payments mean for consumers, for audiences beyond developers? Well, content today is either monetized either through advertising, like we talked about, a site-by-site, or subscription models, right? So it's either a combination of both. And what he goes on to say is streaming payments would go to, the consumers would basically pay for what they use. If you want to go in and see a little part of an article, you only want to read that one article. You don't want a full subscription to the Wall Street Journal. You just want to read a little bit. So you go in, you read what you want, you get in, you get out, and it kind of creates a nice sort of a win for both parties because you go in there, you're not a subscriber, you normally would have bounced, but you go in, you stream payments, and now it's a win-win type of a scenario. So he talks about this, how it could be, these micro transactions which would be required in gaming to purchase like skins or power-ups, and it goes beyond the game. So he says, users have no choice but to purchase large amounts of in-game currency, and because of this, investing hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, for Fortnite, for example, I know when my daughter was really big into Fortnite, she was always having to get a new skin, into this, into that, and there was always something new that she had to grab. So you had to load up, you had to power up, you had to basically flood your account with a bunch of stuff. But streaming payments is different. You're using it, as you're consuming it, you're paying for it, right? So it's a different sort of a way. Think about it like electric going into your house, right? Got that little weird thing sitting on the side of your house that as current is moving through your house, you actually have this little meter that turns and you pay for what you consume. Well, it's not going to be any different using a subscription site. And I love that because that's really what Ethan Beard does. And I love how he spins his article really concisely back to streaming payments. They say, well, what knowledge of blockchain do developers need when integrating streaming payments? It says over 250 payment systems that connect to 2,000 digital assets globally. Integrating payments and apps has been historically no easy task. To add another layer beyond this complexity, developers are now having to solve for and create payments systems around streaming media. It can take a developer up to 18 hours to integrate. And if you remember, Xpring put out that SDK, which made it very easy to integrate. And this is kind of what he gets into a little bit later. They go on to ask him, what's the next frontier or the need and solution for developers building on the blockchain? He gets into gaming, presents the huge opportunity. Now, if you remember, Forte was given $100 million in funding to not necessarily have developers come in to develop for on XRP or the ledger, but really to encourage them to start building on the blockchain, right? Developing games on the blockchain. And there's a couple of them out there. There's not a lot of them right now, but I kind of would imagine that at some point we'll look back at a day when there really aren't any more non-blockchain games, and there are probably one or two holdouts. By the way, there's still one Blockbuster store. We've talked about this. I know somebody pinged me in the comments, say it's in their town, and they still go to the Blockbuster and rent DVDs and Blu-rays and all that kind of stuff. There's always going to be one holdout, right? Not saying everything's going to go that way, or there might be something a little bit different that may present itself, which always could happen as well, right? So that's a really nice article. I really enjoyed reading this because a lot of times you read these interviews and there are a lot of fluff and they're really buzzy. This one really hit it really beautifully. I thought Ethan Beard, he's a brilliant guy. Really think he's the right person to be leading Xpring over there as the SVP. So let's jump into chat. What do we have here? What's Jeff saying? He loves crypto for in-game currency. Let the players make money for their efforts and time spent. Yeah, right on, Jeff. That's exactly right on, man. Yeah, that's what's Richter saying over there. Richter. So Richter, when do we get to hear the bad news? Richter, what's the bad news? Let's get to the good stuff. Like when Moon. Richter, let's not. Come on, man. We gotta pace ourselves. Pace ourselves, man. We can't get right into that. So I talked about the spree. So check this out. We have so XRP's role in solving problems with cross-border payments. Perfect use case that will drive growth, which is why be true. It's funny because we had those guys on the other night, and it was interesting. They pronounced it be true, and I actually like that pronunciation better instead of bit true. Because is it be true or bit true? Anyway, Curris pronounced it. It sounded like be true to me too. Is why be true decided to make it central asset of our exchange. Be True officials, CEO Curris Wang. And we interviewed Curris right here on the chain. And this is the article right here. So I'm not going to play this video. You guys can go off and look at it. But one of the things they get into in this particular article and why they featured it, this is on the insights section of Ripple's website. One of the things they do is they get into reaping the rewards of putting XRP at the center of the digital assets platform. Now, there was another one based in Eastern Europe that tried to do XRP only. They didn't really have good funding. To be honest, I don't even remember what the name it was. They were around for maybe 9 months. They had a cool looking website, but I don't think I was even ever able to purchase from there. I don't know. I don't think they really had their act together. But now Curtis Wang had a vision after visiting it was some sort of a blockchain convention. He heard somebody from Ripple speak, and he said, whoa, hang on, hold up. This looks pretty interesting. And they go on to talk about it. So Singapore-based digital assets Be True found success by putting the digital assets XRP at the center of its platform. Now that one of the things that they did was they decided to build around XRP and then build pairs to it, which I still to this day love because I don't think there's anybody else out there doing anything remotely like it. But hey, I could be wrong. It's building around XRP and then building pairs around that. So yeah, it was a fintech conference where he originally founded. He said he believed that by focusing on XRP, BeTrue could become part of a bigger ecosystem based around global payments. It wasn't a typical strategy for digital assets exchange, so I had to work hard to convince his team that it was the right idea. Persuading customers to use the platform was even a tougher challenge. So, you imagine what we go through here when we talk about XRP and you talk about it out there. Sam I Am did a phenomenal video just pulling apart the BTC maxis the other night. If you haven't seen it, you can go to the lifeboats and check that out. But one of the things, I happened to catch a little bit of that. I saw a little bit of it before, and I just thought this is just maddening. And you got a bunch of people who can't even operate Google. They can't even go in and type something in Google to figure it out. And but basically, they have no clue or concept. They're not even in the right universe. They're not in the right library, the right bookshelf, nothing. If you remember the Dewey Decimal System, they're not even sure what that is. So XRP's use case makes it practical and scalable, so it made sense for the business to focus on it. It's one of the things that I love about that. Be True right now, at the close of 2019, they had 77 XRP pairs. They've also launched digital asset-backed loans, which we've covered here extensively on the chain, on OTC. We've talked about that. And we also talked about the fact that Be True is really one of the only ones out there that really at least described it the proper way, exactly what you were doing. You were buying on leverage there. And let me just pop back over here for a second. I want to go into go back into the chat, the chatters. I want to see what's going on with the chats over here. So Connie's like, dang, Matt, let's moon soon. You know what, Connie? Give it to Matt, because you got to give it to Richter, man. You got to let him know. You got to let him know what's going on. Let him know what the deal is, right? And then I'm going over here. My other screen sort of fell off here. There we go. Richter, that's one on the chain. So it had one big tank of gas. Yeah, right on. So So this one here, I wanted to get to this. Wait, did I pass this XRP faster? Let me see. Good Lord, I'm all lost. I lost my spree. Yeah, here it is. You know what happened? I see what happened. I see. Yeah, here it is right here. Bammo. There we go. So this right here is pretty exciting, and this is one of the things that you're not going to see probably talked about a lot. If it wasn't for Ripple touting its own horn, you probably wouldn't even hear about it. But I will say this, that when numbers don't lie, you can talk about feelings all day long. Well, I felt this way, and I felt happy, and I felt this, and I feel like XRP. I feel that Ether. I feel that Bitcoin is the chosen one. Okay, that's great. But let's start looking at data. When you start drilling down on data, so the data team crunched the numbers. Evidence shows that users are shifting to XRP for exchange balance transfers to avoid network congestion on Ethereum and Bitcoin, right? So on Ether and Bitcoin. So what's happening? You get a lot of congestion. You had the halving happening. So you had a lot of trading stuff going back and forth. You have the massive the congestion happening. So this was new on the blog. Say that 4 times fast. And let's jump into it. Is that the one? Yeah, that's it right here. So let me go ahead and make sure that there we go. So Shay Wang, I want to give credit. She's a data scientist over there at Xpring. She went ahead and started crunching numbers to see exactly what it looked like. And the recent financial crumble put crypto networks and their stakeholders to the test. As market activities increased, network congestion on Ethereum and Bitcoin reached unprecedented levels. Transaction fees, check this out, for both assets exceeded 5 times. Now you have these going up 5 times the norm, and then the bigger problem is the congestion, so that they're taking longer, right? And when you start looking at these high transaction fees, the currencies were moving in and out of the exchanges became difficult because of the high fees, but more so because it was delayed, right? When you get congestion, you get delays. And let's face it, we're not talking about speedy payments here anyway. If you've ever sent BTC to anybody, it takes a little bit of time even before it hits over there. Then it takes even longer to process. And then you have the fee in there. And we knew the fees were going to go up after the halving anyway, because if you think about it, the only way miners can actually benefit and actually make any sort of a little bit of coin there, the only way they can really do it would be to sort of either they take their 2.25 reward for Bitcoin, or they can get the transaction fee. But you can't live off transaction fees. Even if they go up, they're just not high enough. It's not going to make any sense. So XRP was designed with the value transfer on top of mind. It's reliable, affordable. We know all this stuff, but the transaction fee, here's what it comes down to. Now, if you know, we start getting into the gas. So the XRP exchange inflows and outflows rise as Ethereum transaction fees increase. Transaction fee and gas price are robust measures of the Ethereum network health. So higher fees mean that users pay a premium to have their transactions included in blocks sooner. You want it to happen faster, you got to go ahead and you got to pay. That's exactly right. You got to pay the piper. So here's a chart right here. XRP cross exchange transaction versus Ether transaction fees. So figure 1, the Ether cost per transaction is higher. There's also more XRP cross exchange transactions. This is true. And you can see what's happening over here, and you can see the raise right up there, right? Bam. Pretty heavy. So on days when the fees skyrocketed, XRP cross-exchange transactions also went up significantly. Overall, higher Ethereum fees would correlate with higher volumes in XRP. So what they were basically looking at was, that's interesting. So you had these going up at the same sort of a time, meaning so on March 12th, for example, in 2020, Ethereum transactions fees rose over 400%, goes up 4 times. That same day, XRP cross-exchange transactions rose 226. So there's your correlation right there. If you have one, they're both going up equally, that means you have somebody going, I wonder if there's a better way to do this. So here's what we're looking at right here. Here's the Ether median cost per transaction in USD. So there's the low fee, the medium, the high, and there's the very high. And you can see, boom, it hit a Pretty high rate there, right? The low one isn't so low though, right? Oh, that's funny. It's like this chart's almost reversed. It goes, this is high to low. So the indicator is of a positive correlation, and we kind of touched a little bit on this. So if the chart above that we just looked at shows the relationship for each level of Ethereum transaction fees. The relation is weaker, but still existent when the fees. So this is what data scientists really get into. They like to go through lots of data and looking at stuff. The XRP Ether trading volume increases during the network congestion. So that tells us that they were going over and they were saying, there has to be a better way to put this together. And guess where they were headed? So you have XRP cross exchange volume versus your Ether transaction fee. Look at this. Whoop, boom, bam. There's your 400% on March 15th, 2020. You can see if you overlay the Ether transactions across, you see a lot of the same jumps. Look at the jumps happening here. You have the jump again here, but look at the big one where they rose 400%. Now, when you overlay what was happening with XRP, man, they're right there. So you have 200% they mentioned earlier, and then you take the 400% over here. That's a direct correlation in the volume, which meant, what does it mean? What does it all mean? Does anybody know what it means? Crypto Insomniac says, hey guys, I think he knows, and Darren Ricks, nice setup on the background. Yeah, nice, thanks man, appreciate that, appreciate it. And we have here, so now we're looking at the daily trades versus the top tier exchanges. And if you look at the green sections right here, you can see there's February 1st, the 15th, and again, here we are hitting March 15th. Now these are the XRP to Ether trades, right? So you can see what's happening right here. They're flipping off the one, and why would they do that? Well, they avoided the network congestion. They also avoided high fees. So you can kind of see where this is going. You know, it was a while back, I think Jungle Inc. first brought it to the community when he was showing how you could turn BTC, flip it in XRP, and boom, you could take a process. And of course, I had to go share that with my BTC Maxi buddy. He goes, wait a minute, you're telling me that I could send BTC really in probably less than a minute? I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. How do I do it? Well, first you go ahead, you turn in XRP back over, and XRP to Bitcoin. It's pretty interesting, right? So this is what the BTC Maxis are missing. And they go like, but XRP is a scam and it's a banker's coin. It doesn't have a use case. That is the use case. Have you checked it out? 4 seconds. The interoperability, the methodology to be able to go ahead through and handle this. That's exactly the use case we're talking about here, people. Hello. Is this thing on? Right? So XRP is cheap to move despite the market conditions. Now check this out. When the going gets tough, XRP is laying back, hands behind the head, smoking a cigar. It doesn't matter if you get the congestion or not. And I think this is really why what I love about all these charts. You know, charts, when you look at TA charts and they're like the Golden Cross and the Masked Warrior and all these really weird terms they have, like, look at all this stuff. And meanwhile, I look at these charts right here and I'm like, look, I love this. It's cheap to move and it's market condition agnostic. It doesn't care if it's the craziest trading day in history, because look at it. If we look at this right here, let's look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin we have right here. Here's March, the same sort of a day, all the way up into April 2020. We have the orange one right here, which might look red. I'm not sure what it looks like on your screen, but you can see the trading volumes going crazy. Then you have Ether, which is the purple, and then you have XRP. Now, what you're going to see, and what I'm going to predict is going to happen, is this is going to become not just a one-off event. I think we're going to start seeing more and more of this, because as the network gets more congestion, and as, like for Ethereum, for example, if you're going to pay a higher to have your blocks move a little bit quicker, you're going to have to pony up the money, or you could do Ether to XRP, right? And that was one of the things we just talked about, the trading pairs, like on Btrue. And by the way, it sounds so much better, Btrue. I love that, right? When we start looking and tearing apart the data doesn't lie. This is what's happening. 200% right here, and we have 400% right there on that day. It's incredible. So as can be seen from the chart, let's see, building an efficient and resilient network that makes moving money easy for everyone, it's Ripple's core vision. So when people say to you like, hey, what's the real benefit? You can go off on this, but if you go to the Xpring blog, you can start showing some charts, because it takes a data scientist to start looking at correlations, patterns, different things that are happening. And this is just scratching like the tip of the iceberg. This right here is just a little bit. You're starting to get people more savvy. Now, as they're becoming more savvy and they're looking at things, they're saying, hey, wait a minute, I don't have to pay the high fees. But I think more important than that, I don't think sometimes people care about the fees so much. Now, yeah, 400%. If they have to make it go even quicker, I agree, that could become an issue. I think the best use case here is speed. You know, the interoperability to be able to go from Ether to XRP, XRP back to wherever, or be able to move whatever you want to go back to Bitcoin is going to be really key. So that's what I wanted to get through here. I'm going to head over to the blog. What's over? Anthony King had a message retracted. Probably had some well-wishing words, or he had some hating words for BTC. Or he said, hey, man, I love BTC. And then me said, oh, I don't know. It's the wrong place for that. I don't know. Brian Motter, what up? How are you doing? Crypto Insomniac's in here as well. Welcome, everybody. Rix is in here. Let's go back over. Let's see. So here's what other thing. Now, we're not going to jump in this. We kind of already talked a little bit about this. But. Let's get into this. Let me hit the right button here. Bam. There we go. So here's. I like when you see positive press, because, you know, so many times I go, is Ripple dumping XRP again? Will Ripple survive as a company? Ripple's a startup. Yeah, they've been around 8.5 years. Okay, they're a startup. But you see what I'm saying? So I've started seeing some of these really positive sort of articles. You look at the headline here. Spring investors move from Bitcoin and Ether or Ethereum to Ripple's XRP. Boom. We don't see articles like that. This is phenomenal. You wanted good news? Boom, there it is. So they get into the same stuff. We went to the blog. They basically went to the blog and pulled out their own, but they make the same parallels. They took out the valuable stuff. The Bitcoin and Ethereum rose 5 times during the major collapse on March 12th, which we know led to a lot of other things like liquidations and everything else. But I wanted to showcase that because here's another one. Check this out. And again, when you start seeing the trades writing really positive stuff, investors switch from Bitcoin and Ethereum to Ripple's XRP. Whoa! When's the last time we saw a cool article like that? You know, if someone sees that, you see a BTC Maxi or Ethereum, they're like, whoa, what's going on here? And again, they pull out the really important bits. Study by Ripple's Spring concludes that the crypto investors are turning to XRP. So I said, we're going to see more and more of this as time goes on. This isn't a one-off event. It's going to continue to happen. Here's the one that I saw. I don't know what this Ripple helps Rack Bank to expand Rack money transfer with RippleNet. This isn't like a brand new story. It's been out there, but again, you know, I just wanted to focus again. It has been a while since we've seen a bank or something having to do with this. This is a new service will be used along the Bangladeshi corridor by partnering with the Bank of Asia. I'm going to skip that line because that's ridiculous. Ripple has been at the forefront to oversee the world move towards instant cross-border payments with reduced friction. Let me say that again. I love this. I mean, we're seeing some positive stuff. I started reading all these articles. Usually I have to like dissect them and tell you, no, that's not true, or this bit of it's true, or no, you're off base with that. But Ripple has been at the forefront of the world, basically moving towards instant payments, right? They are reducing friction out there, so that's pretty cool. They also picked up on this tidbit, which we've talked about a little bit on the OTC here. Recently, it was named the only blockchain company in the ISO 222 standard body, and also the first member focused on distributed ledger technology. Whoa, more good news. What's up, Michelle XRP? How are you doing? We like booms. What's going on? We sure do like booms. Good to see you here, Michelle. Nice to see you tonight. So RippleNet promises its user to ensure access to new markets with the ability to deliver the best customer experience in global payments. You know, I started going, okay, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop because they're just going. They talk about, you know, MoneyGram, Santander, TransferGo, and Rack Bank, to name a few. They even say the companies competing with a significant portion of the $1 trillion market from SWIFT. By the way, SWIFT has missed their ISO 222. They missed all kinds of compliance. European central banks getting a little nervous about it, started sweating a little bit. They're going like, well, what do you mean you're not going to make the 2021 deadline? What do you mean you're moving to 2022? How do you know so early that you're going to miss that deadline? What's going on, Anna? How you doing? Good to see you in here. Annalise XXO025961 is in here. Okay, I added a few digits. So details of the rack, and I guess it's rack bank. I don't know, RAK. I'm not even sure how that's pronounced. Who knows what? Who knows? But somebody will. That's why I rely on you smart people in here. What's going on, Venture? Chipster, what's going on, Venture? So in line with the strategy of providing customers' needs as its core, this solution empowers the Bangladeshi expats to instantly and securely send money home to Bangladesh in a few clicks. So tonight we're looking at something that's interesting. Is it what's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. But when you start seeing all this amazing good news start happening, you start seeing Ripple do on a tweeting spree. Remember their tweeting spree between yesterday and today. It's 3 tweets. There was 1 tweet yesterday, and there's 3 today. It's a spree, man. I'm calling it a spree, and I'm sticking to it. So again, this is always good news. I love this. They pretty much got most of this right. I skipped over the part they messed up, but let's keep it on a high tonight, can we? We're not going to get all caught up in negativity. They did miss something, but I just glossed right over it. Let's jump back out here. I want to say hi to some people in the stream. Hello, how are you? That's it. I'm done. That's it. So if you guys are enjoying the content here, I invite you to hit those thumbs up, to subscribe to the channel. If you like this, not only myself, but Jeff, he's over there. We're doing these, I'm doing the shorter XRP minutes. They're little tiny blasts. It's not the full live stream experience. It's just a quick hit, right? They're 6-minute. Well, today's video is about 9 minutes. I got a little bit long-winded, but they're usually 5-6-minute videos so I can get you the news. You get in, you get out. You read it, and what you do is you go right down there, and that other channel, you can pop over there and subscribe to that as well. That's what we do. So we have those shorter hits and the uploads here, and then here we do the live streams. By the way, we're back tomorrow night. I'm back with my co-host, Jeff. We're going to be doing a deep dive. It's going to be sure to be a winner. We take Friday off. Saturday morning, we do something pretty cool. And I'll get back to that in a moment because we got a little bit more to go here. So where are we? Where are we on this whole thing? Yeah, if you really wanted to... Yeah, so what are we doing? Where are we doing? You know, I love when I set these tabs up ahead of time and then something weird happens. And then all of a sudden my tabs are all like blown out all over the place. Nobody knows what happened. It's half here and half there. Let's go in here. Here we go. So you always do a privacy segment. One of the things we do in the XRP Minute, we talk a lot about it on this channel. You know, Jeff and I are consistently bringing up the topic of privacy. Now, this thing right here, the reason I brought up this, I've seen this in a lot of places, but I brought it up on TechCrunch because my TechCrunch fun little bloggers, you know, they have a certain sort of an outlook on the world, so they position stuff in an interesting way. So I wanted to bring this article up here, and you'll be going, okay, there we go, boom, boom, here we go. So look at this, the Senate, here we go, narrowly rejects a plan to require a warrant for Americans' browsing data. Now, this is unbelievable, this story right here. So senators narrowly rejected a bipartisan amendment that would have required the government first obtain a warrant before accessing Americans' web browsing data. Well, they don't have to get a warrant, right? So we had something called the Patriot Act, which basically said, if you want to be safe, if you believe in safety, then give away all your freedom because don't worry, we're the government and we'll make you safe. Uh-oh, that sounds like a problem. Remember what Ronald Reagan famously said, the 9 most terrifying words in the English language were, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Something along those lines. I probably got the words wrong, but it's that paraphrasing. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Those are the 9 most terrifying words in the English language. So the amendment was bipartisan. You had Ron Wyden, Democrat out of Oregon, and you had Steve Daines, he's a Republican. And so check this out. It was 7 lines in length. Yeah. Bam. This is it right here. Look at this. HR 6172. Here it is. Strike lines 1314. Insert the following. Cell site location, global positioning system, application of paragraphs to seek authoring. So that's it. There's not much to this whole thing. Is this even the right one? I don't know. Let's go in here. Where are we? We're really lost here. Okay, here we go. So it would have forced the government to first establish a probable cause, right? Makes sense. Hey, you got probable cause. Once you have probable cause, then you would have to go ahead and get a warrant, right? Makes perfect sense. Again, we're talking about privacy. You'd have to have some sort of reasonable suspicion of a crime, so to obtain the warrant, right? But the Patriot Act, the Patriot Act, after 9/11, we had to enact the Patriot Act because we were going to be so much safer. Basically, we just basically gave away, we threw the baby out with the bathwater, and we lost every bit of our that we could possibly lose with our freedoms, right? Amendment fell short by 1 vote of the required 60 votes. 1 vote short, but there were 4 senators that didn't participate. Yeah, Lamar Alexander, he's in self-isolation because he tested positive, or I don't know, maybe he just wanted a holiday. Maybe he just wants to hang out with his friends. Who knows? His family, it's possible. You had Patty Murray, another Democrat, and you also had Democratic former presidential candidate Bernie Sanders. Bill took aim at Section 215 of the controversial law. And anyway, there's not much more to really say about this, but they basically go back to the Patriot Act, and I suspect this will probably come up for conversation again. It's very possible that we'll see it, come up at some point. Am I right, Carl Lewis? Tell me where I'm going wrong, Carl Lewis. What's up, comedian Carl Lewis? G, what's up? G is in the chat. What's up, GDLT? How are you, man? By the way, I wanted to catch your stream yesterday. You were just going live as I was trying to nod off. Big homie Roach, what's up? And that's just fun to say, big homie Roach. I don't know what that all means, but all right, it's fantastic. I kind of have an idea what that's all about. And Lord Vendetta's in here. Sup, guys? Sup, Lord Vendetta. When you talk about Lord Vendetta, it's Lord Vendetta is in the house. Something like that. Darcy B. Darcy B's in here as well. So anyway, we don't really not much more to say about that, but here's a little bit of, Crypto Eddie calls it the fluff. I call it the fun stuff. I call it all different stuff, but, this right here, if you've ever been to the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, it's one of the greatest places. Also the Van Gogh Museum, and you have Museumplein, the Museum Alley when you're in Amsterdam. You basically have all this collection of, and I'll put it on my screen in a little bit, but you have this collection of museums in the Rijks, which has all the Dutch masters in there, just an amazing, Rembrandt and everything else. But I want to show you something that I felt fascinating, and this is really easy to get away with and start drilling down on. But let's take a look at this. So this is a pretty cool project right here. So this here is the ultra detailed 44.8 gigabyte image of Rembrandt's The Night Watch. And so Anna, you'll know what the Night Watch means when we talk about Game of Thrones, right? You had the Night Watch. What's up, G? Got a big $5 bomb there. What's up, G? Thank you so much. You're just man, you're just humbling us in 2 nights. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the support. And I've said this, if you're click on to the 3 little dots to the right of G, right to his name there, GDLT, click on that, go to him. He does some amazing live streams, brings a really good perspective, and they're fun to watch, so I don't see why you wouldn't watch them anyway. So the Rijksmuseum here, check this out. It published the largest, most detailed photograph ever of Rembrandt's Night Watch. And I had to get some specs on this. I know people outside the U.S. are going to be, well, give me it in meters and everything else, but it's 11 feet by 11 feet, and it's 14 foot wide, 11 foot high. And I'll tell you something, when you first see this, you're just struck by the sheer size of it. You walk in there, it's one of the first things you see in the Rijksmuseum there. And I've been there several times, been to Amsterdam as I like to call it. And of course, Anna's probably been there more times. I mean, she's probably, yep, she says, yep, Chip. So she's been there, but here's something really interesting. The Night Watch made up 44,840,000,000, I don't know, that's a big number, right? It's too many things. This is tons of pixels. It makes it possible to zoom in to a brush stroke. So what this is allowing people to study it, like scientists. Like, they're not going to let you get up there. They're not going to, hey, come on in. Yeah, you come on in. You're like, hey, what's up? Can I go study it? You climb up on a ladder and you're like, 10 feet into it, and you're sitting there with the magnifying glass looking at it. No, but this is going to change a lot of things. So there it is right now. It's actually a brilliant, I think one of the most brilliant things about Rembrandt, one of the things that I love, is the way he uses light. I mean, it's incredible, right? The shadows, the light, and everything. You look at this thing, like I said, this is massive. It's 14 feet wide, 11 feet tall. You're just struck by the awness of it all. So look at some of the detail you can see here, right? It's pretty incredible. Look at that. Check that out, right? Boom, and it booms. Anthony King says, I'd paint that if I didn't have YouTube either. Yeah, you might. You might paint it, but I don't know if it would come out like this. You never know, man. Maybe it would. But let's get into the fun, shall we? There's the image. You go like, wow, that's pretty impressive. So you're looking at it, and you're like, that looks pretty cool. Check this out. Let's go in a little bit closer. Huh. Check that out. Let's go in a little bit closer. So now you're starting to see a little bit of the paint come through. You're starting to see a little bit of the wear and tear. You're starting to see a little bit of food element right there on the stash right there. No, that's just, oh, that's a speck. Never mind. Sorry. And look at the look on the face right here. You got highlights happening here. But let's go into the eye a little bit. Holy cow, check this out. Now you really can see how time has not been so nice. Look at the cracks that are starting to show. None of the stuff you see from back. And now let's go even deeper, shall we? Let's go into this eye right here. Check this out. This is insanity. It really is insane. We're zoomed 100% in there to that. And again, this is on the web, so I'm sure you can get even closer than that. But look at that. You see that evil eye? It's looking right at you, isn't it? Now, as we zoom out, look, boom, the cracks erase, right? And if you're looking at this thing, you probably don't notice this back here happening. This dude's hanging out. Looks like he's doing a little spying. Maybe he's doing a little bit retrieving some data. Nobody really knows. He's having a good time. This guy just had a few beers. He's cool. He's drinking the brand beer. They call it BRAND. I call it brand. If you know that one, that's a really good one. We can't get that here in the States. Look at this. Look at those shifty eyes right there. But just look at the wear and tear. Now, if I had shown this from the beginning, you would never guess that was a forehead and an eye, right? You wouldn't have seen it. What do I have going on here? I got this lights acting up over here. Look at this. I don't know what's going on. Something happened. There we go. Let's pull that back a little bit. A little bit too much light on that. But this is pretty interesting. I just thought, I love art, obviously. I'm a big fan of Van Gogh, or they say Van Gogh. That's, I believe, the way they say it over there. But look at this, guys. It's insane, right? Look at the wear and tear. You just realize time has not been kind. They had different kind of paints. They really had nothing to preserve it. You see chipping happening on there. Did somebody say chip? I think they did. Yeah, you have all this stuff happening over here. But it's a lot of fun just kind of like look around, even if you want to look at the barrel of the gun right here. Look at that. It's incredible. So now you start seeing the strokes, right? You zoom out. Look at that highlight right there. But check this out. It's a little bit, it's just nice to be able to study. And this is exactly what scientists are going to be able to do. They're going to be able to study it. I don't know what's going on here. You have some kind of a cherub over here. But look at the lighting here. Look at how on this child, or I don't know what that is, some cherub. I don't know what that is. But just look at the lighting here. You can see that the illumination off the white versus the darker sort of colors in the background here. If we zoom in up here, you can start seeing the wear and tear, the paint chips and whatnot. I gotta say whatnot. I was watching something the other day and someone just kept saying whatnot. I have to say whatnot. Check out the gold. Beautiful, right? Look at that. You see there's a hand back there. There's somebody back there. Yeah, you can see the face right there. You see the stogie, remember? There's a cigar right there. That's what XRP is doing when it's just chilling out. It doesn't have any network congestion. That's what we see. And then you kind of want to look at these boots. Those are badass boots, man. They got a nice little heel on and a little taper going on there. Little bangles happening there. Little big flare out over there. It's sweet, right? This guy, not so well. I don't know. I'm not so digging those boots right there. Not digging those so much. But anyway, I thought that was something fun to take a look at. A little art history there, a little bit of lesson. So how much is the painting worth? Probably wondering, like, well, what is this painting worth? Well, it's worth upwards of $500 million. $500 million. And boom, big homie Roach bringing the two. Thank you very much, big homie. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. Man, I appreciate that. That's awesome. Big homie, what's up? Bringing it strong. You guys can always put a comment or a question in there too if you like. With the super stickers, something I can read out, opinion, whatever. You can throw it in there. Or you can just, support the channel, which I always appreciate as well. Anna says there's a Rembrandt statues in the park in Amsterdam painting in real statues. That seems pretty interesting. I wonder if they still have that giant Amsterdam behind the Rijks. Thanks and what? Anthony King says thanks and whatnot. Thank you, Anthony King. And whatnot, and whatnot, and whatnot. And we'll go and whatnot. Yeah, that can get a little bit old. Thank you, man. Thank you, Anthony King, for your support of the channel. Big ups. Appreciate it. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Um, Anna, they still have that big Amsterdam sign. It's right when you come out of the tunnel, right behind by the Rijksmuseum Museum. In the back there, they got a little like a lake back there and a little place to eat. By the way, I have to tell you that back in the day when I was eating meat, I had the worst burger in Europe. And it probably is just because I'm so conditioned to the meat we have here, which is just loaded with all kinds of I don't know, probably chemicals and everything else. That was probably like pure beef and what it's supposed to taste like. But it was actually my buddy that got it. I have to actually throw that out somewhere. Made a video of it. Actually, I have to do that. I'll have to throw that up. I'll have to put that up somewhere. I don't know, maybe on my personal channel. But it was, I did a little segment, the worst hamburger. He wasn't happy about it. He couldn't eat it. I don't know. I got a little yummy treat. I don't know what it was, but it was yummy and delicious. But yeah, okay, that's still there. Yeah, that big old Amsterdam sign. And beef in Holland is awful. Well, thank God. I'm glad you said that because my God, it was really bizarre tasting. I don't even know if it really tasted like beef, and who knows? It could have been goat. Nothing against goats. It just didn't. It just had a weird thing. And check it out, man. Frank McGillicuddy is here. Park is awesome. Yeah, it is awesome. I love that. It's one of my favorite places. You know, Museum Plein. What a great little place. There's so many. I love Amsterdam. I love the city so much. Man, I love the design there. And you know, the design, the Dutch masters, it continues to this day. Some of the best design agencies. You look at a country that's so small, 17, I think, and a half million people. Maybe it's 18. Maybe Anna will correct me. But the kind of design that comes out of there, the entrepreneurship that comes out of there, just phenomenal, man. Just phenomenal. My hat's off to them. Someone said hello, everyone. I'd read that name, but I cannot. But I will say hello. Hello. I will say hello to you. And Elise says hi. She says a big hi and big up. So I think what I wanted to just sort of review some of the things we learned tonight, that there was a tweeting spree by Ripple. And that means there were 3 tweets sent in 2 days. 3 tweets, 2 days. 1 last night and 2 today. That's massive. And a lot of great news coming out. And then we took a look at all the news coming out as it related to the press, the crypto press, which isn't always so crypto kind to Ripple or XRP, because after 8+ years, they still don't get it because they don't read about it and they don't have Google and they don't Google stuff. I don't know exactly what it is, but apparently they have some sort of an issue with what it is they're doing, and who knows what that is. But I wanted to invite you to check out that other channel down below. You know, we have the XRP Minute. I believe there's another HODL review coming up tomorrow morning, probably going to drop at 7, which, you know, if you're on the other side of the world, that would be at night or into the morning. And we'll continue to start dropping those. And we've got some amazing interviews coming up. We have an interview scheduled for Friday. We have an interview scheduled for Saturday. And we've got some, I know we've been teasing one, but we're just working on some of it, but some really fun, cool projects. We're going to be talking to some people that are actually out there solving real problems with real projects. So tomorrow night, you're going to be able to check the deep dive. The deep dive, I believe I'll be sitting in once again for the deep dive. It'll be Jeff and I. We usually deep dive some subject, and we already have sort of the framework for that. Friday, we take the night off. Why do you ask? Well, it's date night for me. Saturday morning, do not miss it. Set your alarm very early, 8:30ish in the morning. Jeff does the HODL review, and he always brings it on Saturday mornings. One of my favorite things to do is wake up, grab a big cup of Joe. It looks like something like this, although this is water today. And check out Jeff do his thing Sunday night, the roundtable. Somebody from the community, something interesting. We go back and forth and we start talking about it. And then Monday we got another amazing interview coming up. And then Tuesday is the Tuesday night live stream. So as you can see, we have programming. It's almost filling every night of the week. Not exactly, but close enough. That's my take. What's yours? Let me know down below. I'm Chip, and I am out of here. Thank you so much.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.
Wait a minute. You're still here? What the hell? Why are you still here? You didn't leave? This is incredible. You didn't leave? I thought we ended the show and you're still here. Whoa. That's amazing. I'm shocked. Thank you. Thank you for hanging around. I really appreciate that. That was fun.
Are you down with OTC? Please like,